Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming podcast. Today is the 3rd June of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be one of your hosts for the evening. The second host is Tygergamer. Hey Tiger, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How about you?
I'm doing just fine today. Thank you for asking. So, let's get straight into the gist of it.
Yep.
And since we are here to talk about video games, that is exactly what we are going to talk about. So, tell me, what did you get to play this week?
Well, I got to play through Detroit Become Human, which is developed by the studio called Quantic Dreams. And the best way I can describe it is it takes place 20 years into the future in Detroit, where where humans live together with androids.
Interesting.
And the androids become self-conscious. So, or they become conscious, and and that's all I'm gonna say about the story. But it really is like an interactive movie, where whatever choices you make affects the outcomes of the story. Where you play three different characters who are all androids, and if one of them dies, the story continues without that character.
Interesting. That's actually a mechanic I don't think I've seen in many games in the past years, to be honest. I remember it in being in old RPGs where if you killed somebody, they were just gone. But as of late, the developers have not been really taking the risk of using this mechanic much, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Quantic Dreams, they've been around since the early 2000s. And this is their, I'm trying to think. Second, third, fourth. I think it's their 5th game to come out. And I've played a few of their games in the past, and this is their style of game. They pretty much, how Telltale, how Telltale Games made the Walking Dead games and all that?
Yeah.
Where your choices matter? Well, Quantic Dreams, in a way, they kind of pioneered the choices that you make matter in a game.
And apart from it being sort of an interactive movie, in what exact way is it interactive?
Well, in order to show you, in order to do certain actions, if you want to open up a door, to show you right here, it has a on-screen prompt. It tells you get the right analog stick, push like this, and then do it like that. Or sometimes it'll actually hold different buttons down at the same time to do a certain action.
So it's pretty much QTE events.
For the most part, yeah. But you also get to explore different areas of the game as well.
So I guess it could be called an exploration / QTE event game.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, to be honest, that doesn't sound particularly fun for me personally.
Yeah. It for me. When I first played Heavy Rain back in 2009, the controls for that, I was like, what the crap am I playing? But then after playing that, I got used to it. And since I've played their games in the past, I know how the game will possibly feel when it releases. So I'm kind of used to it. But for newcomers, it's kind of takes a minute to get used to the controls. It's pretty much playing it's like playing Twister with your fingers.
Well, this sounds like a game I would rather watch than play.
Yeah.
Because I play games for their gameplay. I don't play them for
Yeah.
the story most of the time. Yeah, there are games in which the story is nice. I will not argue that. But if the game doesn't have enticing gameplay, it won't really catch my attention either way.
Yeah.
Because
That's understandable.
honestly, if I wanted to play something where, okay, I push 3 buttons at this point and 4 buttons at this point, in the end, I might as well be watching a movie.
Yeah, true.
And I understand that you cannot make choices in a movie because it's a movie. But
yeah,
maybe I will go and read a game book if you remember those.
yeah.
Could this technically be called a game book, like in video game form?
Yeah, yeah. 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 I'll say this. Yeah, the controls. If you never played a Quantic Dreams game before, it's gonna take a minute to get used to them. But once you do, it becomes kind of like second nature. But I will say though, if if you don't like Quantic Dream games and you played them in the past and you don't like them,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say either go watch this game on YouTube or skip it altogether.
And since it's a narrative-driven game or a story-driven game, how's the story?
It's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Can you try describing it without going much into spoiler territory?
Yeah. So pretty much, androids they wanna fight for their rights to, like, they want to have equal rights as humans do.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, from the way I played,
Mm-hmm.
I got a bad ending, so
Oh.
I had to go back and replay it to get an ending. But pretty much, there's like a lot of imagery, like similarities between like the Holocaust,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just say that.
So can I ask this? Are the androids physically superior to humans?
Yeah.
So, if I'll ask you this, I wonder if your answer would be yes or no. Is it essentially X-Men?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay, so it is a metaphor for racism, essentially, the whole
Yes.
game.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, on one hand, I can see that being popular in today's days and age.
Yeah.
But I wonder how well they manage to deal with the fact that a large portion of gamers is very heavily against ideological games. Because let's be honest, a lot of game developers tend to be on the American left. And they tend to push their narratives. It's not like I'm complaining about that. I really don't give a fuck. I think if they want to, they can because they are the makers of the game. But I also realize that many gamers these days will be heavily against politics being pushed in games.
Yeah. Well, also one of the cool things is, depending on what choice you make, you can actually make like at the end of each chapter there's like a thing that says like so and so's get closer to you, or so and so's trusted, or so and so's hostile against you, or and there's also like a thing that says has to do with like public opinion, where a person can be skeptical of androids, and then they can become hostile, or they can actually be willing to listen to androids.
Yeah,
so
like sympathetic.
Yeah. So depending on what choices you make in the game, could change up the outcome of the story.
And I'm going to assume when you said you got a bad ending, you meant the fact that the androids haven't gotten their rights.
Oh, I would say, like I don't like the outcome, but I still got they still got what probably what they wanted. So
Okay, so you got like a neutral ending.
yeah,
Okay. Well, again, to me, this isn't a game I would personally play.
yeah, I can see that.
But for people who do like what I guess could be called a cinematic experience game, this sounds like a great choice.
Yeah.
And would you recommend it personally?
Yeah. If you have a PS4 and you want to play something new and different, and you never gave a Quantum Dreams game a try, don't give us a try. But if you have given their type of games a try in the past, you didn't like those games, there's a strong possibility you don't like this one either. But if you're new to this kind of type of game, go and give it a try. You might like it.
Okay, I think that's actually a fair assessment from your point of view. You're getting better at this part of reviewing games, you know? Maybe I'm having a bit of an influence at you.
Possibly, yeah.
So, I've got to play 2 games this week. The first one, I've already talked a bit about it last week. It's Wizard of Legend. So I finished it. Well, I didn't finish it because it's an infinite cycle game. But I've played enough to make a review of it. I actually made the review. The review is online if anybody's interested in that. And I gotta say, I was so pleasantly surprised by that game. So insanely. Because the last 3 weeks, all the reviews I've did were of roguelike games. And Wizard of Legend was by far the best out of the 3 games. Like, it wasn't even in the same ballpark. City of Brass was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was okay. The second one, what was it? Spartan Fist. Yeah, it wasn't super bad, but it wasn't even good. It was really... The best word I could say for that is decent. And it had problems on the fact that it wasn't stable, it was crashing, and all the enemies were insane. But Wizard of Legend had not only insanely fine and fun combat mechanics, it had a good upgrade system, it was great on a technical level. No bugs, no crashes, it just worked flawlessly.
Awesome.
And most of all, for my personal taste, it is actually replayable without getting quickly boring. I've personally spent, at the very least, 30 hours playing it, and
oh wow,
and that's an insane number for myself. You know that?
Yeah. That's why I said wow to that.
Because I've just been having fun, and
that's awesome.
I honestly think that is the main goal of a game. Yes, you can talk about the graphics, you can talk about the mechanics, but it all depends on whether the game is actually fun.
Yes.
And Wizard of Legend just nails that. On top of that, I really fell in love with the graphics. It is a pixel art style, and, you know, I dabble into pixel art. And here, it was just awesome. Okay. And my girlfriend actually liked the game because I'm not sure if I mentioned that this last week, but I think I did. It is so hugely inspired by Avatar. Like,
yeah, you did.
So obviously, like, especially the Earth boss, he literally kicks chunks of rocks at you. Like, it's almost hilarious. And yeah, really, if you were looking for a roguelite game and you don't mind it being a 2D game, and I don't think the majority of people who do play roguelikes will be bothered by that fact, give Wizard of Legend a try. It's a great game,
Okay.
and you will certainly have your fun with it. And it's fairly cheap, actually. If I remember correctly, Wizard of... it's $16, and that's the full price. And it's infinite value because you can just keep playing it forever. And if you're a cheap ass, then yeah, wait for a sale. But I don't think $16 for this amount of fun and value is a bad deal by any sense of the word. The game is fun, it is complex, and apart from one little nitpicky problem I had with it, and that's the fact there are so many abilities in the game, and it takes super long to try them out. Like, you know, when you're designing your character, because you can buy the abilities and have them available for the next run, and you can pick and choose from them. But if you want to like try them, you have to equip the ability. You know, we first need to find the ability in your repository of abilities. Then you have to equip it, try it out, then go back to repository, pick another one, try it out. I wish there was like an easier system, like you didn't have to switch between menus to try abilities. But that's really a nitpicky thing. It's not like a thing that makes the game not fun. It just makes it that you are less likely to experiment with your character builds. Because if you just find abilities that you like, you are very likely to stick with them because trying new ones out is somewhat of a bother. But apart from this little nitpicky thing, great game, highly recommended.
Okay.
So what else, apart from Detroit, did you get to play this week?
I also got to play. Also started playing Dark Souls Remastered on PS4.
Awesome. So I've actually heard that it is maybe even harder than the original Dark Souls.
Huh.
Like some people feel like it's harder. I don't know why. Maybe it's just people getting bad and not being so patient as they used to be when they played it first through.
So far, if you take the time, for me, it's actually it's challenging, but it's fair. It's not like when I die, I'm not like mad because I died. I'm just like, okay, I'll just go back, get my souls, and continue.
Yeah, it's not a random number generator that's killing you. It's you being bad.
Yeah.
And what about the remaster part? How has that gone through?
So far, like me, it's actually my first time going through Dark Souls, so.
And what is the price tag on it?
$40.
Okay, that's not particularly cheap. If I take a look at Dark Souls on PC, so remastered is also 40, but how much is the original?
Which on PC, if you already have it on PC, I would not recommend this game if you already have it on PC. Because I mean, what's the point?
I'm trying to find the original one. Seem to be blind. You know what you hated when you're blind and you can't find shit?
Yeah.
Now, I don't see the price, but Dark Souls 2 is available for the same price. Dark Souls 3 is at $60 still. So, yeah, I think I would recommend people maybe going for the second installment rather than the first on PC if you don't have played already through it, or you don't want to relive the experience with better graphics.
Well, on PC, it was already better on PC with the fan mod that they had on there. So
Yeah,
For the
mods
PC,
are great on PC.
yeah, for the PC crowd, I don't see a reason to buy the remaster.
Hmm.
Whereas on console, like me, it's my first time going through it, so it's for me it's a new experience. So
And if I remember correctly, you have played Bloodborne, right?
I played a little bit of it.
So, which one did you like better?
Right now, even though I haven't beaten neither of them, I would say I like Dark Souls a little bit more because in Bloodborne, I'm not ashamed to say this, but it took me 3 weeks, and this is like me going to school and all that. 3 weeks just to make it to the first boss because of the absurd amount of enemies that they had in one area at one time.
Well, real Dark Souls and Bloodborne types would just tell you to get good.
Yeah, which I did.
But since we're on the topic of hard games, I've actually been playing a somewhat Dark Soulsy game. I think it's a good way to call it. The game is called Unworthy. And it is essentially 2D Dark Souls. Like, it includes most of the same mechanics. Like, you know, you need to pass by a fire to save the game and save your progress. Yeah. You have sins that you use to buy upgrades and items the same way you use souls. You have really hard and punishing combat if you make a mistake, but very fair if you're playing very conservatively. The only real difference is this is a 2D game. The person who made it, which his name is Alexander Kuzmanovich, I think he's Russian or Ukrainian or something like that. He calls the game a Metroidvania. But
yeah.
He was so obviously inspired by Dark Souls that to a degree, I think if Dark Souls came in and tried suing him for like copyright infringement, I think they had a chance. But because they're not competing for exactly the same crowd, because this one is a 2D game, I think he will get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So far, I've managed to put in about, 2 hours, I guess. I've managed to beat 2 bosses. And I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It has a great, depressing atmosphere. The game is fully black and white, just shades of gray.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels really depressing. And I do truly believe that theme fits perfectly within the Dark Soulsy genre.
Oh yeah, yeah. Shoot. In comparison to me, I'm like 4 hours in. I just beat the 3rd boss this morning.
Yeah, I've actually got to the 3rd boss in Unworthy just today, but I've only had 1 attempt at him, and I was like, you know what? Getting here is enough for me today. I had plans with my girlfriend today, so I've done a bit of that. I've needed to do some writing, so I did a bit of writing. But if you're a fan of Dark Souls, and you really don't have anything to play right now, as you have beaten all the Dark Souls and The Surge and Bloodborne and whatever other games in this
and
particular subgenre, Unworthy is a good choice. It truly is.
Yep. You know, the game that actually got me into that made me fully get into this type of genre was actually Neo.
I'm trying to find if the game is available on consoles as well. But as far as I see, it seems to be available only for PC. It is available on Steam and on GOG. Yeah, it's available only on PC.
Okay.
But there's one thing I actually wanted to mention. I think
What's that?
this one would be very well portable to mobile.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a 2D game, so you don't have to concern yourself with like huge computational power. And the controls aren't really that complicated. You know, you have your movement, and that's only left and right and dodge, because you have no jump ability in this game, which is interesting on one hand. And then you essentially have your attack button, your healing button, and your special ability button. And your special ability, half of the time, it's tied into your strong attack. So it could be actually just maybe taken away by slight adjustments to the game. But I would really love to see this on phone. Really. I'm thinking about just writing to the creator and telling him, port this to mobile, I will pay money for it.
But here's the thing though. How well would it play on a mobile phone?
I think actually it would play okay. The controls aren't that complex. It's a 2D game with a pretty small field of vision. There's, as I said, there's essentially 5 control buttons that you need. Left and right. And that's essentially one button if you do it with the joysticky thing. And then you need an attack button, a healing button, and a special ability button. And that's all you need.
Okay, I can actually already see how he could like port this to mobile.
Yeah, I can see that as well. And if I'm not mistaken, though I might be mistaken here, I think the game was made with Unity. So the game could be ported feasibly very easily to mobile using Unity, as it already has an export button to both Android and iOS. So I'm for sure going to mention this fact in the review, and I might try to like message him to just tell him I really like your game. I think you should make it for mobile. Maybe like make a even if he had to make like a slightly simpler version. Like maybe take away the abilities or something. But this genre is at the moment very lacking on mobile. And I think it could be very successful.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's it for my games played this week. Have you played anything
Same
else?
here.
Then it is time to take a look at this week's news. And we're going to start with something truly appalling.
Yeah.
So last week, we reported about the fact that one of the most influential YouTube reviewers, John Bain, also known as Biscuit, died. And we were pretty happy that the majority of the world was pretty nice. We were saying, yeah, there were a few people that are vitriolic, but there's really not much otherwise we could have expected. But then there was this one guy, David Crooks, who is now a former BioWare developer, who decided to just go bonkers. As he wrote, "Weird, the world just felt a little bit better sometime around an hour and a half ago. Maybe it was just these new running shoes I got from my run home." And then he wrote a second tweet, "Oh wait, I know, it's because Total Biscuit's dead." And then he followed up with a few other tweets like saying that he was a misogynist because he was a Gamergate supporter and On top of that, he was really pissed that Total Biscuit criticized few of the games he worked on. For example, Mass Effect 3 and a few others. But man, I just don't get this guy. I really don't understand what was going through his head when he wrote these.
There's no telling.
Like, what did he think would happen? Did he, like, think people would cheer him on his tweets? I think there's one very simple rule. You don't mock the dead.
No matter how much of a jerk they were in life.
There are a few exceptions, notably Hitler and Stalin, but seriously? And
yes.
I'm just completely baffled by this guy. And I really hope he never ever gets a job in the gaming industry ever again.
Yeah.
Because any person who is willing to be so vitriolic, to be such a jerk, such an ass, doesn't deserve to work in this industry.
I agree.
So, it's just, man. I really don't know what else to say about this guy. Maybe...
I don't either.
Maybe... I know one more thing. Fuck you, David Crooks.
Yep, you're such a crook.
Okay, let's move on to something more positive. Let's take a look at Fallout 76. The recently announced new game in the Fallout series. So far we don't really have much information. We do know that it will be taking in the Vault 76, which you might have guessed from the name.
Yep.
We also most likely know that it will actually be a prequel to all the previous Fallout games.
Yep.
Well, we know this from the fact that we do know that Vault 76 was one of the vaults that were actually okay. You know, they were working as intended. No creepy conspiracy theory going on in there.
Yeah.
And it should have opened in the year 2097 in the universe.
Yep.
Though, if you take a look at the Pip-Boy in the trailer, you will see it displays the year 2102. That's 5 years after the intended opening time, but there are plenty of explanations that could be made lore-wise to why it didn't open earlier.
Most definitely.
And that's really for the stuff we know. The rest is pure speculation.
Yeah.
So, some of the speculations going around, interestingly, beginning on 4chan, but by somebody who actually seems credible because he got the name of the game right in his predictions.
Yeah, months before they actually announced the game.
Yeah. He seems to say that this game will have, let's say, Rust-like multiplayer gameplay. And it will have a big focus on building your settlement.
Yeah.
So, also we know one more thing we know, and that it is in the area of Washington, D.C. And that pisses me off slightly, because I really thought it's going to take place in West Virginia. Because of the song that was playing in the trailer.
Well, it could. Well, if you also got to take into account that West Virginia in the Fallout universe does not actually exist. The country was split into like 13 commonwealths. So.
Well, we do know from from a Fallout 3 data log is that Vault 76 is described to being in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah. Which could still be in the mountains of West Virginia in our universe, but it could become something else in the Fallout universe, so...
Yeah.
Just wait and see.
Yeah, if you think of it that way, I guess you're right. But if I want to say, I was really happy to hear that song. I'm not a big fan of country music, but when it comes to country music, West Virginia is one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, we really don't know much. I personally would like to see a multiplayer element, but more along the lines of co-op gameplay rather than it being MMO.
Which I think, and to me, this, on my part, this was completely speculation, but like in the trailer, you see the terminal that says "You are invited." Mm-hmm. That terminal might play a part in the getting together with friends online. So
and that would be something I've been really looking for in a Fallout game for some time now. And I really wish it will, if it has co-op, I really hope it also has crossplay.
Yes.
Because crossplay has been getting bigger and bigger, but this, again, is just wishful thinking on my side of it.
Yeah, I can see PC and Xbox getting crossplay, but with Sony, nope.
Yeah, you're screwing it all for us, Sony.
Yeah, really.
The only game I know that has crossplay between PC and Xbox and PlayStation is Rocket League, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's just hope we get to know more on the E3 showcase on June 10th.
Yep, can't wait.
And I hope my dreams will come true and I will get to play Fallout with some of my friends.
I'll be playing it if it is a co-op game. I'll definitely be playing with my brother. So.
And if there is crossplay, I'll be sure to join you guys.
Heck yeah.
And you know what?
If there's crossplay.
Yeah. But if there's co-op and there is no crossplay, I actually will be playing this with my girlfriend. And I will be the guy who goes, like hunting, etc. And she will be the person who takes care of the settlement. Because she loves playing The Sims. And this will be like post-apocalyptic Sims, if the rumors are true, though.
Actually, both me and my brother, we're actually in the minority of people that actually liked the settlement building and Fallout 4.
Oh, I didn't mind it. It wasn't like my favorite thing, but it was, it's there. I used it a bit, but I didn't engage in it very heavily.
Yeah.
Well, either way, let's move on from Fallout 76 and let's move on into pure speculation territory. Well, not pure speculation. There is a little bit of truth here, and that is the fact that we know that EA is working on another Star Wars game. And it should be an interesting combination, as we know about the game because of a job listing, and EA is looking for a senior online designer who will join an established group of developers working on a AAA Star Wars title in development at EA Vancouver. Not only will the job revolve around helping to execute the vision for a unique online experience, but also it will require applicants to assist the team in bringing all connected features with the single-player narrative and gameplay into a cohesive experience. So similarly, this suggests to me, it suggests to me two things. But my first initial idea was a co-op Star Wars game. My second idea was it will be something along the lines of Destiny. So what does this job listing tell you?
I would say, yeah, it does kind of sound like they're trying to make a Destiny clone out of Star Wars. But we'll just have to wait and see what they announce.
I don't think it will get announced at this year's E3. That's one thing I want to say. I think EA has already enough big titles for this year, and they will not want to include another one.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I do think that the Destiny genre actually fits Star Wars fairly well.
Oh, yeah.
So, on one hand, I can easily imagine playing, like, I don't know, a bounty hunter as a single-player experience, you know?
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, playing in small groups, I think the best thing I can imagine is playing as a Master Jedi and a Padawan. That would be seriously amazing if that was the case.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll say this, my only concern right now is I hope EA does not screw it up like what they did with Battlefront 2.
You know what? I actually think they're learning. I honestly do think they are learning. Because, you know, Battlefield 5 will not have loot boxes. And even though Battlefield 5 has its own quote-unquote controversy, I don't think that one is a controversy at all. First of all...
No, it's not. It's not.
And Star Wars, because you will be most likely able to pick your own character, this sort of issue doesn't seem to be like a potential issue here. But yeah, they can obviously screw it up.
I'll say it with my own eyes before I decide on that. So,
if it was something like co-op Jedi Academy, that would be awesome. But if it's something like a Destiny clone, I might give it a try. I'm not sure. You know, the problem for me with a Destiny sort of game is the fact that it would take way too long to play.
Yeah.
But it does sound interesting and enticing.
Oh, yeah. It does.
So, let's move on from speculation territory into the real world for a moment, and let's take a look at the Atari video computer system, which has been now funded on Indiegogo. And if you want to, you can go and back it up right now, pre-order it, and I guess be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
So, bit of information. The Atari VCS, previously known as Atari Box, is sort of something similar to the Nintendo Entertainment System or the Super NES, in the fact that it tries to capitalize on people's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it is a small form computer with really shitty hardware for a price that isn't particularly great.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, it includes an AMD A10 4-core CPU, which is a really low-end CPU. You can get it for like $100. No, less. I'm bad at math. Radeon R7 GPU, which is really, really low end. To give you an idea, if you wanted to play the original Shadow of Mordor, the 2014 one, this one would struggle to keep it at 30 FPS at 720p resolution. It's really not powerful at all. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of hard disk, or not more specifically of SSD memory, though that one is expandable through either an external hard drive or SD cards, and it runs a custom version of Linux, more specifically Ubuntu, with a sort of Atari design. So, to me, it really is a small form computer that does look decent. I will give them that. The style of it is pretty okay.
Yeah.
It starts at $200, and if you want to go for the full-blown edition, which is actually made from real wood and includes a controller and a joystick, that one is costed at $299 at this moment, though it will be more pricey once the early bird deal comes out of play. But I just can't see myself being interested in this.
Me either. If I want to play Atari games, I'd go and try and find a 2600 off of eBay somewhere.
Well, that's one thing. What you need to remember, this one has the ability to also like work as a home computer under your TV. You know, for watching, I know, Netflix and technically it actually has access to Steam, but only for the games that aren't hardware intensive, and only the games that work on Linux also. Though that number of games is actually getting bigger and bigger by the day. The Indiegogo campaign actually managed to gain almost $2.5 million, raised by 9,370 backers, which, if you do the math, and we did the math, equals to about $250 per person, which to me suggests the majority of people are buying the non-special version of the console plus the joystick, and some people are buying the higher end stuff. Because I don't think many people will be buying the console, joystick, and gamepad, because we don't know how good the gamepad is, and most people would just rather buy a gamepad they can like find reviews of.
Yeah.
And the console itself will include 100 plus classic Atari games, including things like Asteroids, Pong, Missile Command, you know, these sort of things. And again, it will have access to Linux games, both purely Linux games and games that are on Steam that are also workable on Linux. And unless you really love the aesthetic of the console and you are looking for a computer that would sit under your television the same way a PlayStation does, I just don't see the point of this. I would much rather just build my own small factor PC, which I would very likely be capable of building cheaper and better.
Yeah.
Though most likely slightly louder. That would be my only concern, that the small form computer I would build would likely be louder because of cooling issues. But you could make a fully passive cooled small form computer if you would be going in a similar ballpark in terms of hardware. So will you be getting one?
No.
Me neither. Okay,
No.
let's move on for a moment, and this is a topic on which I really want to hear your opinion, as I stated mine yesterday in the gaming news, and it's about ideas from analyst named Michael Patcher, who has his own show, The Patcher Factor, and he was talking about the next generation of consoles and how he doesn't think Sony or Microsoft will be able to go fully digital, meaning that they will not use any sort of physical media. To give you a quick overview, he brought up 2 points. First was the fact that it would hugely screw over retailers, and you can't really screw over retailers because, well, they will not sell your console if you screw them over. And his second point was about the used games market, which he thinks about 50% of consolers actually engage in the used game market, whether it is as a seller or a trader or a purchaser. So I want to know your opinion on the first point first, that it would screw retailers over. And by him saying retailers, I do believe he's mostly talking about game shops.
Yeah. Now that, I can see that screwing over like solely game retailers, but like other retailers like Walmart and all that sell consoles as well, I can see them getting by. But yeah, it would definitely screw over the game focused shops if they did go for that.
And the second point, which is the existence of a second hand market. What do you think of that?
From my personal experience, trading, buying, and selling used games, there's still a market for that over here in the U.S. And I think it's a good way for people to try out different games without having to pay full price for them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they went fully digital, there'd be no way that you can like get your games cheaper.
Well, there would be a way, but it would be very unlikely to happen because they would essentially need to have like a trading place inside the console's, software. But why would they do that if they can force people to just buy at full prices?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think both of his points are going to stand with the next generation of consoles. I don't think the next generation of
I also have my own point to it as well. Right now, the internet infrastructure is not that good for digital only games.
Oh, it depends where you live.
Yeah, but also, if we were to go like only solely cloud streaming, right now cloud streaming is crap.
Yeah, that is crap, and that will be always crap because of lag.
Yes.
But the point I wanted to bring, I do believe he is right that the next generation of consoles will still use physical media. Yeah. But when it comes to the generation that will come after that, I think it is actually hugely predicated on whether game shops will survive in big enough numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, because our game GameStop is already starting to decline in sales, so.
Yeah, and if game shops don't exist, that takes away the first point altogether. But it also sort of takes the second point away. Because the vast majority of people, as far as I understand, go and trade in their games in these places. Yes, you may do some of it on, eBay. But majorly, you will do it at a GameStop or something like that. And if those places don't exist, the market of used games suddenly shrinks by a huge amount. Because, people just don't have such an easy avenue to sell and buy the used games. There's a difference between I'm going to the city to buy milk anyway, I might as well stop at GameStop and buy me a used game for $5. and going online and browsing and finding exactly what you're looking for and then waiting a week before it arrives because somebody has to send it to you.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before, but I truly believe that within the next decade, most game shops will go bankrupt.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
And because we do know there are at least 3 years before the next generation of consoles appear in the market, and then there will again be a new cycle that will last for a few years, most likely close to 6 to 8 years again. That is very close to a decade. So for the next generation of consoles, that is where I think we may see companies going fully digital.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. And it might be even longer before they decide to fully go to the cloud streaming.
Yeah, I don't think cloud streaming will really be a thing ever unless we get a way to communicate faster than light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our weekly Fortnite corner, because you cannot escape Fortnite.
No, you cannot. If I don't watch my brother play right now.
So let's start with the more serious piece of news, and that is the fact that PUBG Corporation has decided to sue Fortnite for the similarities between the games in Korea. Well, they decided to use the Korean court system to sue them. So this is according to a report from the Korean Times, which happened on Friday last week. PUBG Corp, which is actually a Korean-based developer, filed a lawsuit against Epic Games, specifically their Korean arm, asking the court to determine whether similarities between Fortnite and PUBG constitute copyright infringement. There is a second part to this, to which, well, you might not sigh, and that is the fact that they're complaining about Epic using PUBG in their marketing materials, more specifically the name PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah, now that I understand, but simulators and gameplay, no.
And here I'm fully on the side of Epic. There's just no way anybody can argue that you can own a genre, I think. And I do believe there are enough differences between Fortnite and PUBG to them be very distinctive. Not only graphically, but mechanically.
Yeah.
But there is another layer to this, and that is the moral question. Because PUBG is running on Unreal Engine, which is developed by Epic. So, looking at it from a moral point of view, yes, Epic did a shitty thing. They screwed over their partner. And that is not something you do in the business world. But when it comes to the similarities, I don't really think PUBG has a big case.
No, they do not.
I've actually watched like a 15-minute video of a lawyer talking about this. And he essentially said, yeah, they don't have to worry anyways. They might have to like reduce slightly or pay a one-time fine for using PUBG in the marketing material. But I don't really think Epic will be much concerned about that because of the fact how much freaking money Fortnite is making.
Yep, and I think that's actually the reason why they're actually trying to sue them, is because of the popularity that Fortnite's getting right now. So
yeah, that's a good point as well. And on this side of moral things, here PUBG is in the wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't get this. Okay, let's move on to our second piece of news for the Fortnite corner, and actually our last piece of news for the week. And that is the fact that it seems that Fortnite is coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is based off report by the Korean Game Ratings Board, which is essentially ESRB, but with a K at the beginning because of Korea. And they have given Fortnite a thumbs up to be played on the Switch. I think it had a 12 plus classification. And there are 2 points of view here. One is from the point of view of the Nintendo Switch, which I think is just they're jumping up and down and cheering and being happy.
Yeah.
And then there's Fortnite who are like, great, we did it. But I really think Nintendo has gotten the better deal here.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So, will you do own a Switch? Will you get Fortnite for Switch?
Yeah, considering it'll be free. Yeah, I most definitely will.
And so that essentially means Fortnite is now available everywhere apart from Android, and it's still coming to Android as well because we do know that it's coming somewhere in the summer. That means there isn't a single platform where you can't play Fortnite. Give me a second. I'm not sure if you can play it on Linux. Oh, there isn't a native version, but it seems to be running through Wine, which is a Windows emulator for Linux. So yeah, there literally isn't a platform where you can't or will not be able to play Fortnite, which is fucking insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think for the Switch, I think this will be a killer app for the system, a killer third-party app for the system.
Yeah, I think
this year. So
I think the people who are interested in portable gaming will more likely play Fortnite on the Switch rather than playing it on their phones or tablets, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I actually have a great story about Fortnite. Yesterday, I went to a Petanque tournament with my girlfriend. You know Petanque? The game where it's a game where you throw balls and you try to land the ball closer to one of the other balls. It doesn't matter, but you know there were a lot of families there, including their kids, and even the kids who said, "Oh, we don't like games," because I was chatting with the kids with my girlfriend because she's studying to be a primary school teacher, and I actually am fine with kids also. And we were chatting with the kids, and I noticed that one of the girls was doing the Fortnite dance, and she was like 8 years old. And I asked her, "Do you know where this dance comes from?" And she was like, "No." "Oh, it comes from a computer game." And she says, "Oh, I don't like computer games." "Oh, really? But is it from Fortnite?" And I was like, "Yeah." This was a girl dressed in pink who does actually athletics professionally, she told me. So, and she's really not a gamer. She still knows Fortnite.
Wow.
So I was baffled by that. The boys had a field day with me because I told them that I play games for a living, and they were like, "Oh, you have to tell that to my parents." But I was just baffled.
Yeah, seems Seems like right now you cannot escape it no matter where you go.
Yeah, literally, I went to a real-life sports event. Fortnite still got mentioned. Oh, technically by me, but not because of me, because of a girl who was doing the Fortnite dance. Insane. Insane, this world we live in.
Yeah.
But that concludes our news section, unless you have something you would like to talk about.
No, I do not.
Then let's move on to our last section and let's do game recommendations. I'll start this week if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So I would like to start with a game which I'm sure I will screw up its name because it's weird. It's called Anti-Graviator. And it's actually a racing game, sort of in the spirit of Wipeout. As you're racing with these anti-gravity vehicles, you should use traps, power-ups, boosts, and there is no speed limit, which I think is an interesting thing.
Oh, wow.
Another feature I would like to mention here is the fact that this game will have split screen, so I am getting this one no matter what, because I've been looking for a racing game to play with my girlfriend on a split screen, so this is perfect for me. And if this game is good, because it has zero speed limit, I think it could be an interesting speedrunning game.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know, if you like do a perfect run, that could be pretty insane. So it's coming out on June 6th. Sadly, there is no price available at the moment. I forgot to check if it's also coming out for consoles. But it is definitely coming for PC. It is also coming for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So you might want to take a look at this one as well.
Will do.
So what is the game you want to recommend?
I'd like to recommend a game that's been made by the developers of Life is Strange called Vampire.
I have this one on my list as well. So why do you want to recommend it?
Well, it just seems pretty interesting. It takes place in 1918 London during the Spanish flu pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose between either giving in to your vampiric urges or choosing not to give in to it. And I can't see how this game plays.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same reasons. The ethical conundrums seem pretty interesting in this game. And I also like this one mechanic, which essentially means that the citizens react to your decisions. And I really want to see how they work with this feature. But though most likely I'm still going to review Anti-Gravity, I hate that name, Anti-Graviator, not Vampire, because Vampire will just take too long to review. Okay, you got anything else you would like to recommend?
No. How about you?
No, it was only Anti-Graviator and Vampire for me. Thus, it is slowly the time to end the show, and as the tradition goes, let's start with a bit of shilling. You want to go?
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube as Tygergamer. You can find me on Steam at Tygergamer.
And you can find me as Kralizec Gaming on YouTube and at Kralizec on Steam. Either way, we both hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. If you are watching on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment about any of the topics we discussed today, and be sure to tune in next week and tomorrow because the Gaming News series returns. See you guys later with more gaming content.
Yeah, have a good one.